Welcome back, Stasa23 here, back again with some knife therapy. Before I get started, if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up so I know you're enjoying the content. If not, thumbs down works as well. And if you like knife content and you're not already, hit that subscribe button. Alright, today I'm going to do a long-term update of these four knives. I'm counting them as four because, you know, it's the same model. And these are knives that I've carried for quite some time, you know, some of them longer than others, but I feel like I have a good gist of these knives. I've used them quite a bit, and some of them have tons of miles on them. Some of them have, some more than others. But we're going to get started. Let's take these away. And we'll start out with the Spidey Chef. This is the Spyderco Spidey Chef. If you didn't already know, if I haven't reviewed this, sorry, I never got around to it. But if I have reviewed one of these knives, I will try to leave a link down below on the video of the initial review. See if it changed any. The Spidey Chef comes in at $234. It's a Marcin Schleich design. I love a lot of his designs. What drew me to this one in particular is that it is in LC200N, which is a nitrogen-based steel, and it will not rust, or it's not going to rust without some crazy circumstances. I like the grind on here. It's a decent slicer, and the steel holds up pretty well. I mean, in my opinion, it's better than H1. I like it better than H1. It takes a screaming sharp edge. This is probably my third or fourth edge on here. It drops up really well. One thing I have noticed is that the LC200N does scratch up a little easier. You can see the scratches just from normal use. I mean, I could have hit, I don't know. This one's seen a lot of use. That's all I can say. So, the scratches are there. I don't really care. It's a user. You can see more right there, but just something to note if that's something you care about. Ergos are comfortable, especially for having, just flat scales. The way that this handle slopes down right there, it really just melts into the hand. I like the blade shape. They kind of made it a gimmick to make it as like a kitchen style knife, but it's not thin enough to be a good kitchen knife. It's not terrible in the kitchen, but it's not the best. Access to that hole is nice. It's gotten smoother and smoother over time. I did do this anodization on there. It's like a gold with some purple hues in there. I love the deep carry pocket clip on this particular knife. It's riding on phosphor bronze washers. It's not a drop shut anymore. It was a drop shut. For some reason, it's not anymore, but the action's nice and snappy. The lockup has moved over a little bit, but it's been a while since it's at this point. It's sat there for a good while. The only downsides that I've seen is that the lock can kind of get, it's not like your normal stick. It's more like a, I don't know, like a rub. And sometimes it can get worse than others, especially when I'm bearing down on it. It doesn't have a lock insert, but they did heat treat that lock face, so that gives it the extra life. So overall, I like the knife. $234 is pricey, so I recommend it if you love the knife. You like the design, and especially if you're looking for one that will not rust on you, because they did a CQI version. Mine's the original one, but I haven't had any corrosion problems here in the South. But the new ones have black coated hardware, and a ceramic detent ball. This original one has a stainless detent ball. So the CQI, which is their constant quality improvement versions, that one is even smoother than this one with that ceramic detent ball. So there you go. That's a Spidey Chef. Still love it. Excellent knife from Spyderco. Next up is the American Blade Works Model 1 V4. That's one thing. One thing that I love about this knife is that they are up to iteration number 5 on the same model. I so much rather when a company or a person, however, this is a one-man band, that they get it as they do a design and they make it the best they possibly can and make any improvements that they can before they go to the next one. Because when you just throwing out models left and right, then usually the knife's going to suffer in some way as far as quality. The V4, like I said, which this one is amazing. I love it. He has a like a wait list. I don't know if it's still going on, but if you want one, you sign up for his little wait list, and when your name comes up, whatever iteration they're on, like I said, they're on V5 now, you will get the V5. This is S35VN steel with a cryogenic temper on it. It holds a great edge, nice and slicey, very ergonomic in my hands. I love the shape of the flipper tab. I think the size is perfect, grip's perfect. I don't even have to think about it. It just comes out with authority. Easy access to that lock bar, comfortable scales. The micarta, I love how he inset the titanium liners in there. Excellent hardware. Look how crisp that hardware is. Perfectly centered, smooth action. USA made, totally everything sourced from US companies, and it's basically it's a CNC knife, mid-tech, as you say, because he hand fits all these and puts them all together and stuff, so they're all going through his hands. Mine is wearing edge number 2, and it holds up well. My only complaints with the knife have mostly been fixed in the new V5. I asked him what those new improvements were, and one of the things that I had a problem with is the clip that doesn't have enough space underneath there, and the retention was extremely too tight for me to get in and out of my pocket. I love the way it looks, but that was just a downfall. So what he did is increase the space underneath it, so he made it a little taller, and he put more ramp underneath that pocket clip, so it goes in and out of the pocket much better. I love knowing that they fixed that. And also he said that he redesigned the lock. I was trying to understand what he said. He said he redesigned the lock, added some screws underneath the scales, and you screw into the back spacer, and he did that to add more rigidity, side-to-side rigidity, and kind of like he said, kind of like TRM does, Three Rivers Manufacturing does. So that's a cool improvement as well. The only other thing that I had an issue with, it was the blade finish. It came with a bead blasted blade, and I understand he's trying to make these as affordable as possible. They come in at like $185 for a USA made knife. That's like a mid-tech. That's unheard of. So I understand why he has to blast them for cost efficiency. But for me, I was having problems with corrosion in the summertime. So what I did was I did a fine stone wash, kind of like a polishing stone wash to mine. It's very subtle. I wasn't worried about how it looked, just trying to keep corrosion away, and that took care of it so far for me with the little EDC eye. So definitely highly recommend the American Blade Works Model 1 V5 now. Excellent folder if you can get your hands on one. Next up is the Microtech SOCOM Elite. This is the clip point variant. You can see the clip right here. Also, this is the stone washed. They have it in apocalyptic, and I think you can get it in a satin finish as well. This is just this is another USA made tactical tank. That's what I want. It's a tactical tank. This thing is a beast. You got that nice long blade. I think it's about 4 inches long. You have those external stop pins that give you that extra side-to-side rigidity. So, you know, if you had to pry something, you would snap the blade before you did anything else. But it's not going to loosen up that pivot from going side to side because that is stopping it. You got the aircraft aluminum on here that's been hard coat anodized. So very, very strong stuff and keeps the weight down. I love the blade shape. The smoothness is just stupid smooth. I like how they have a very wide cage of bearings to give that more stability as well. You have more surface area riding onto the blade. Action and the sound that this thing makes, that thwack, is just if you're an audible type person on some of your knives, this one is the knife to get. The action's nice, comfortable. It's comfortable in hand to do normal day-to-day chores, but when you're really bearing down on here, the edges of this clip and this right here can kind of start aggravating your hands, and not something that I notice much because I don't have to beat on the knife. My day-to-day tasks are mainly cutting up cardboard and string and plastic and stuff like that, or just cutting chores for myself. This one's in Bowler M390. So overall, I think it's an absolute excellent knife, a USA-made knife, $291. They're kind of hard to get right now. They do small batches, and when you see one that you like, you just got to jump on it. This was the first one I bought. Then I bought the Tanto probably about 8 months ago or so. This one I've had for almost 2 years and still love it. Now I will say that either the edge on this particular one must have been overheated, because it took me a while before, when I first got it, I was just using it to cut up some cardboard, and I was getting some small microchipping all along the edge. So I sharpened it up, and it happened again, and sharpened it up, happened again, and this knife has seen 5 edges. Now, when I say 5 edges, I'm not drawing a burr on every single one. Once I reach a burr, I'm just, minimizing that burr. So I'm trying not to pull off. I'm trying to preserve as much steel as possible, and strop it when possible. And after, I think it was about the 5th edge on this knife, it no longer is chipping like it was. It does seem to be ran a little bit soft. If I had to take a wild guess, I'd say around 58. I would have much rather see this at like 61, 62 would have been excellent. But I still love the knife. It's still a great knife. I know some people are not going to like the tip down. I don't really care. As long as it doesn't hurt me ergonomically, I'm okay with it. And I love the double retention on the pocket clip, kind of like a Chris Reeve knife. I love that pocket clip. Another thing that I'm not super keen of, you got all these huge, beefy hardware. Look how beefy that pivot is. And then you got these little bitty T6s. And I'm not a huge fan of the glass breaker. I'll never use that. But I'm not sure if you can take it out or not. Never really tried. Never taken this one apart. And it's stupid smooth. So that is the SOCOM Elite. Highly recommended. Alrighty, let's see. Which one are we on now? Okay, last up is my two Chris Reeve small Sabenza 21. Both of these are in the Insingo blade shape. This one is a right-handed version with the micarta inlays, and this one is a lefty version that is just your plain Jane lefty, but it did come with the silver double lugs on this version. I picked this one up off of my good buddy Zelric here from YouTube. I always wanted to try out one of their lefty knives to see how I liked it, and he had this one. We did a trade, and something I couldn't really pass up. So I got to experience both sides. But we'll put this off to the side for now. We'll talk about this one. Another USA made knife. And the price tag on these is definitely a lot. You know, this particular version is $475. I think the plain Jane one's like $350. You're paying all that extra money for these inlays. I will say the inlays, in my opinion, give it that extra little bit of width in the hand and a little bit extra grip. Even though, you know, this is some pretty chalky type blasted media here. But I much rather the feel of the inlaid Sabenzas. If you're buying this knife, you know, right off the back when you just get into the hobby, you're going to be disappointed more than likely, unless you can appreciate the NASA style tolerances on this thing, and the finishing. This is as close as you can get to a custom and a very high-end production knife as it comes. The heat treat on this knife, even though I would have liked to see it ran a little higher in like the 61 to 62 range or so. This one's at like 59 to 60. And I will say this S35VN performs better than any other S35VN that I currently own. I haven't used one that lasts longer than this one. That just is a testament to the good heat treatment that they do. The small, I find, for my medium-sized hand is perfect. Now, I will say not all Sabenzas are made alike. You know, whenever I first bought my first Sabenza, I remembered hearing everybody talk about that glassy smoothness, and I got my first one, got to my house, and I opened it up, and I was just disappointed because the action was really stiff. And what it is some of them may have tighter lock bar tension, and when they do, it's going to hinder that action a little bit. This one has excellent action. If you can't tell, you can flick it out. You can Spidey flick this one, drops. This one, of course, is well broken in, but it came decently smooth. I will say they definitely get smoother over time, and with use, the more you're burnishing those large phosphor bronze washers. This knife does have that pivot bushing in there, and so far at this moment, and I'll probably do a separate video on this, but the 21 is still my favorite over the 31 at this moment. And like I said, I will do a video on why. There's a couple of reasons why. The 21 is now discontinued, so if you want one, you might want to get them while they're still available, because, you know, just like the older model Sabenzas, they're pretty hard to get, and people want a lot of money for them. So eventually this one will the 21s will be in that same class as the 31 took the 21's place. What I don't, you know, my nitpicks on this knife that, you know, I've seen over the long-term use. My biggest complaint with all Chris Reeve Sabenza models are these god-awful thumb studs. And if you've owned one, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. I hate it. So it's so painful, and I'm trying to put my thumb underneath there as much as possible so I don't feel it. This one came with double lugs, but there's always a fix. They're press fit. I just popped it out and added my own double lug. And this one, I can easily get to it. Super comfortable. That completely transformed this knife for me. It was not getting carried that much anymore because it just hurt my fingers. I already have my hands are beat up enough as it is. I didn't need a knife doing it to it more. So once I changed those lugs, it completely transformed this knife into another, you know, great one. This is definitely an heirloom quality knife, one that you could hand down to your kids and they can hand down to their kids. Only other thing that I noticed through a lot of use is the ramp on this clip. When I'm bearing down, I can feel that ramp. It hurts, but it's not bad enough to where I had to put gloves on. So overall, I definitely recommend the knife, but you got to know what you're getting. You know, it's not the flashy bling bling knife. It's a great working knife that's made very, very well. All right, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below, and let me know what you think about these long-term updates. If y'all enjoying these, let me know. If y'all don't like them, I'll stop doing them. But just something that I try to do once I've had, you know, at least 5 to 6 months on a knife. When I see people do a long-term update within a month of having the knife, that is, it makes me laugh because I don't know how you could update a knife after a month. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. But hey, to each their own. I'm sorry if you do that. I'm not making fun of you. All right, guys and girls. Hope everybody's having an absolute wonderful day, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.